am Troy Farkas, glad to be back with the Found Generation, a self-improvement podcast where every week we try to answer this one important question. How do we become the best versions of ourselves? Or what can we do to live the best lives possible? I'll get into that on today's episode by getting into one key topic that I think you must tackle in order to live the best life possible for yourself, and that is creating stuff. Let's get into it. All right, we are back with season 4 of the Found Generation podcast. Been doing this show since fall of 2020. If you are an OG of the show, then you know that it actually used to be called the Troy Farkas Show. But here we are, season 4 of the Found Generation podcast. I'm so excited to be here with you all from my apartment in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. The last episode I put out on video, I was in Hawaii, which I will talk more about Hawaii later in an important section of today's program. But first, I just wanted to lay out how this is going to work, how season 4 is going to work, because it's going to be different than past iterations of the program. So, season 4 is going to be 10 weeks long. Every Monday, there will be a solo episode, like today's episode. It won't be that long, 15, 20, maybe 25 minutes, but just a good way to start your week off with the right mindset. Every episode, I will get into a specific topic that I have identified as something that we should really be thinking about when it comes to living our best lives possible. Today, that topic is making stuff, which again, I'll get into in a matter of moments. 10 weeks, every Monday, 5 a.m. Eastern Time, everywhere. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, wherever you consume this stuff, it will be there for you when you wake up. Additionally, because I just love talking to people, and I love talking to people so much and learning from them and peppering them with questions, and I'm so curious, I'm going to have guests, as I always have had on this show. However, I am vowing to only have in-person guests. I am tired of the virtual thing. I do it so much for my job. Real life is meant to be lived outside in the real world. And that's when I have my best conversations, is when I'm sitting across from them one-on-one at the coffee shop, at the bar, on a walk. That's when you get the best stuff. That's when you have the most intimate conversations. Virtual is great and it's convenient, and I love taking advantage of it in situations where I just can't get together with the person. But I'm going to do my very best when I'm on my travels. I'm going to bring all my equipment with me so I can have these in-person conversations with people that just fulfill me and that bring much better conversations for all of you listeners whom I adore so much, and I want to do the best for you. So in-person conversations only. I'm going to have 5 per season. So there will be weeks where we have me on Monday and then guest again on Thursday. Okay, so be on the lookout for that. I've already got some exciting conversations recorded, and I've got more planned. I've got more people that I want to talk to, and I'm still not really going to do the whole big celebrity thing and aim high. If that ever happens, yes, of course, but I really enjoy talking to people who I know or who are friends of a friend or have some semblance of a relationship with me. Those are the kinds of people that I want to be talking to on this show. So thank you again for being here. That's the deal for the Found Generation podcast, season 4. Let's get into today's topic, which is making stuff. So I read this book once, and it's a book that has profoundly impacted my life. It is a book that I go back to whenever I feel a bit lost or confused or in need of some advice. And that book is a massive book. It's called Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss, who is a guy that I look up to in this whole self-improvement space. And the book is basically just a compilation of conversations from his podcast, The Tim Ferriss Show. And he's just put all sorts of bits of wisdom into this big book. Very good read. Suggest you check it out at some point. One of the key pieces of advice that I read from that book that I've taken with me is this. Smart people should make things. Smart people should make things. I fancy myself a smart person, and so I make stuff. I feel like if you are really to live the best version of your life possible, you need to self-express. You need to put stuff out there. You need to make things. Sitting behind a desk 9 to 5 in a corporate world, in a cubicle where your hands are tied, where you're not allowed to be super self-expressive, where you're just towing the line, that doesn't cut it for me. Listen, I'm not knocking anyone who lives that way. There is nothing bad to be said about having stability, knowing where your paychecks are coming from, having all the benefits. And even if you don't like your 9 to 5 that much, if you can go outside of that 9 to 5 and have a thriving social life, thriving hobbies, you're really into exercise, or you're really into hiking, you're really into happy hours with friends, whatever, that's fine. I'm not knocking that. But what I am saying is that it is clear to me that anyone who is really, really happy, like truly blissfully happy, feels the gratitude, feels the love every day, is positive, has it pouring out of them, they make things. Now, what do I mean by making things? Well, there's a whole spectrum of making things. Let's start with art. Music. People who play guitar, play piano, they sing. People who dance. People who write poems, who journal, who write books, who write blogs, who write on Substack, who podcast, who make really cool videos for TikTok and Instagram and YouTube Shorts, who do vlogs on YouTube. This is the kind of making stuff that I'm talking about. Also, there is maybe you build houses, you build sheds, you build or create a garden, some type of anything. I could go down the list naming things. There's all sorts of stuff that can be created. But what I'm saying is, create stuff. Get your hands dirty, or get your mind really activated in ways that you might not normally in your 9 to 5 job. Smart people should make things. We all have a creative side. We all have an expressive side. We all are in our minds 24/7. There's a lot of stuff going up here. We should get it out into the world in whatever our unique way is. For me, I write on Substack. I do the Found Generation podcast. I just wrote a book, which I'm really excited about and so proud about. These are the ways that I express myself. This is how I create. And it feels so good to get stuff out there into the world. And I know it can be so difficult to put stuff out there into the world. Trust me, I've been through it. I'm so self-conscious about this book and how it's going to be perceived. But we have to get over that thought. We have to move past the insecurity, that self-doubt, that thinking that, oh, what are the kids from high school going to think about me when they see this? What are the kids I grew up with going to say when this comes across on their social media feeds? Are they going to laugh at me? Are they going to judge me? Are they going to send me mean comments? All of these thoughts go through my mind when I'm making stuff. It shouldn't, because you know why? No one cares. No one cares about you as much as you think. I don't mean that in a morbid way, that you're not loved and that no one actually has any feelings for you. What I mean is, everyone is so wrapped up in their own shit, they're not concerning themselves with yours. So there's no reason to be self-conscious about the stuff you're putting out there. Just make stuff, get it off your chest. Smart people should make things, because with whatever thing you're making, you might solve a problem for someone else. You might help someone else. And in my idea of what makes a truly meaningful, beautiful, well-rounded life, it's contributing to the greater good. There's this idea of utilitarianism in philosophy, which is setting aside your own needs for the greater good, or making it a point to contribute to the overall greater good. There's a quote from the great Ralph Waldo Emerson. It's a long quote, but the very last sentence of it is, to know that even one life has breathed easier because you have lived, this is to have succeeded. And I think about that all the time. If I can just help out one person today, if I can do something that makes them breathe just a little bit easier, just one person, not 1,000, not 100,000, just one person, that's to have succeeded. So maybe there's something that you can create to help someone, to make the world a better place, a more comfortable existence for just one person. If you can do that, I strongly recommend that you get into it and that you make stuff, okay? If you're a smart person, you should make things. You never know what kind of impact it can have on the people around you. So I'm going to be doing a segment on the show. I don't have a name for it yet, but I want to do some type of pop culture commentary. If you have any suggestions for what to name it, let me know. And by pop culture, I just mean something going on in the world, a trending topic or something that people are really talking about, something that's getting a lot of buzz online and out in the real world, something that people are really interested in. Today's topic is hopefully something I don't ever have to talk about again. It's not an optimistic thing, but it's something that is deeply meaningful to me, and I hope it's something that you care about as well. As you notice, if you're watching the video version, I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt. As I mentioned earlier, I was in Hawaii for just a couple months earlier this year. I was on the island of Oahu on the east side, shout out the east side, Kailua Beach, for 2 months. Earlier this year, I went out with a friend and I lived there in an Airbnb. I visited, I should say. They don't like it when you say that you live there if you truly didn't live there. But I had an Airbnb. I worked at a co-working space. I went to the beach. I went hiking. I swam in the ocean, which I miss so much. Luckily, my neck of the woods on the Hawaiian Islands was not hit by the fires. I never actually made it out to any of the other islands. One of those islands is Maui, which I'm sure you're aware has been hit by some devastating wildfires in the last week or two. As I'm recording this, there's 100 dead and speculated to be much more. Much of the island is destroyed in ruins. If you've seen any of the photos and the videos and the images, and it's just heartbreaking to see this. Hawaii, in all, is such a beautiful place, full of beautiful people who truly live life the right way. They get out in nature. They're so kind and nice. Many of them live off the land, and they just care about ohana, family, about giving back to nature, about being one with nature. That's what was so striking to me and so beautiful about them, is how in touch they are with the water and the trees and the plants and the animals. Where there was chickens roaming around at all times of the day where I was in Kailua. And it was just so cool. I love the way they approach life, food, family, music, song, and dance. They have all these rituals around them. I had the honor of going to a traditional hula, and that was incredible, an incredible experience. And I love my time in Hawaii, and it means a lot to me. And it devastates me to see what's going on there right now. And so all I ask is this. I'm going to put some links into the show notes of this episode, a couple of different places that you can donate to help the cause, to help families reconnect, find their loved ones, to help rebuild Maui, which I know will take a long time, but anything helps. I wrote in the book something that is truly meaningful to me, and it's about giving. I believe that you should give time, you should give attention, and you should give money. No matter how much or how little you have, you should make giving money a priority in your life. This is another key element that I'll probably have a future episode on in living a truly well-lived life. We're so fortunate. We've taken so much from the world. We need to give back. even if it's just 1% of your income for the month, please give it to a cause that needs it, or to something that's personally meaningful to you or personally meaningful to someone in your life. I ask you that this please be the thing that you donate to this month. If it's $10, that's enough. If that's all you can give, if you can give more, amazing. I'm not here to tell you how much is a good amount to give. Any amount matters. If you want to help rebuild a place that really needs your love and support, I strongly recommend donating to the recovery efforts in Maui. It would mean a whole lot to me. If you do, please let me know, and I would love to give you some love on the on a future episode or something like that, or just in my DMs. Thank you. So another segment that I'm going to be doing on this podcast this season that I'm really excited about is a little Q&A session. Again, I needed to come up for a name, but this is how it's going to go. I really want to interact with you guys, the listeners, the viewers. I feel like that's been a missing element of the podcast in the last few years. So starting today, I want you, if you need any life advice, if you have comments, if you have questions, if you're dealing with a situation, if you have a suggestion for a future topic, whatever it is, I want to hear from you. How do you get in touch with me? There's a million ways that I was, email, voice memo, should I create a phone number, whatever? No, I just come back, just shoot me a message on Instagram. If you want to be anonymous and you don't want me to say your name on the show, I won't. If you don't care, then I'll read your name. If you don't mind, I'll read whatever you said on the air, and then I will address it. So, because I haven't actually put out the call to action to anyone yet, I only just had to ask a friend for today's episode. But in the future, any submissions via Instagram will work. Doing this show for you guys because I love you guys, and I want to get to know you guys and what you're struggling with and what you're going through and what you're thinking, because maybe this is all something that all of us are thinking that we can get through together, getting through the collective struggle that life presents every day. The first question of season 4 of the Found Generation podcast that we have comes from my friend, Alyssa. Alyssa asked me, Troy, how did you write a book? What the heck? When did this happen? That's a great question. My first book, Surrender, A Guide to Living Your Best Life in Your 20s, is out now, and I'm really excited about it. This is a lifelong dream of mine to become an author. I've always loved writing. It's always been something that I've taken great pride in. It's something I feel I'm better at than most people are. I feel like writing is a bit of a lost skill. And so writing a book has kind of always been a thing that, well, if I want to call myself a writer, I need to write a book. So it's been something that's been on my mind for a number of years now. And it was always such a daunting process. I mean, hundreds of pages. Do I have that much in my head about a certain topic to be able to get it out? So I kind of, wasn't ever sure if I would do it because of the amount of work that would be necessary. I didn't know if I had it in me, to be honest. But then when I moved to Colorado after I left ESPN at the beginning of 2021, I was just writing and writing and writing. And then maybe a month in, I said to myself, wait, I think in this specific format, I could actually make this into a book. And so over the last 2.5 years, on and off, I've been writing this book, slowly contributing it, just little contribution by little contribution, day in and day out, one crappy page after another, as one of my favorite writers, Ryan Holiday, says. That gave me the time and energy and the stillness that I needed to write the book, to finish it. And then when I was in London earlier this year and then on Oahu, I put the finishing touches on it, revisions. I did 4 or 5 revisions on my own. And then I needed to make the decision, okay, do I want to publish with a traditional publishing house, the big 5, as they say, or do I want to self-publish? I didn't want to do the big 5 for several reasons. One, I had been stewing over this book for so long, I just wanted to get it out. And I knew that there would be a lot of bureaucracy involved in a traditional publishing house where I would lose some artistic control. The process would take much longer. There would be all sorts of middlemen. And if you know me, I'm a big fan of cutting out the middleman, of just taking things into my own hands and doing things my way. So that's what I wanted to do for the first book. And I also, honestly, I didn't want to get rejected. This is something that means a lot to me. It's a personal project as well. And for my first book, I didn't want to sully the experience. I didn't want to deal with any of the self-doubt. I had the means to put out my own book, whether in terms of contacts and knowledge and financial resources to do it. So I just opted to self-publish. I found a really good guy who helps people self-publish, a guy named Sean, who actually has self-published some of my favorite self-improvement books. So it was a perfect match. We went back and forth on several edits, several rounds. It was really good to collaborate with someone. I love collaborating with people because it, the stuff that you think is gold, they'll tell you it sucks. And it's really good to get out of your own way and have someone else take the reins and use their better judgment, because, this has been a Google Doc of mine for 2+ years. And it's really good to get the outside feedback. So we collaborated, eventually came up with a finalized version of the book. We also went back and forth on the book cover, which was a fun little process. And then you basically just upload files to Amazon, to Barnes & Noble, to Google and Apple for the ebook versions. And then you set a pre-order date, and here we are. And I'm in the marketing process right now. If you are in the 518 area, Clifton Park, Albany, Saratoga, New York, where I grew up, I'm doing a book signing this Friday at Mocha Lisa Cafe from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. I am so excited about this because Mocha Lisa is a place that is so meaningful to me. It has a new storefront now. They've just changed owners within the past year, and it looks awesome, but it's a different vibe. But Mocha Lisa has been around since, 15 years. I know the owner, or the original owners, quite well, and I've now gotten to know the new owners, and I've been there through so many different iterations of the coffee shop. I've been to live music there. My dad has played there. My best friend Ben promposed to his junior year or senior year date to prom. I've gone there to write parts of this book. I've gone there just to sit. I've gone on dates there. I've done everything there. And so to do this thing that is so meaningful to me, to do it at a place that is so meaningful to me, wow, I'm so excited. I'll be there. I'll be reading excerpts from the book. I'll be talking to people. I'll be signing some books. We'll have books on sale there. I mean, to see my book on the Mocha Lisa bookshelves, wow. I have no words what that means to me. I'm so excited. So if you'll be in the area, come say hi. Let's take some photos. Let's talk. I'm curious about your lives and everything that you're going through. Just come say hi. I'm really excited about that. So that's the answer to the question, Alyssa. Thank you for asking it. And hopefully this is the first of many books to come. This is something that I really want for myself. I want to keep living and learning and writing and parlaying these experiences of mine and knowledge I've gained into books, into talks that I give at universities or business conferences or whatever. I'm really excited about that. I don't have a career, like a specific, this is the dream job for me. I just want to make the world a better place for people. I just want to create stuff. I just want to make stuff that helps people live their best lives and become the best versions of themselves. That's why we're doing this podcast. And that's why I'm so excited about The Found Generation Season 4. That's a wrap for today's episode. Reminder, if you have a question, a comment, whatever, message me on Instagram at Troy_Farkas. I'm also going to put links in the show notes of this episode to places that you can donate to the Maui wildfire relief efforts. If that is something that you're interested in, I will also put some links to the show notes for the for my book Surrender as well. And thank you again to everyone who has watched this on YouTube, who has consumed this on audio side of things. I hope you'll do Spotify. I work for Spotify, so it would be amazing if you're listening on Spotify. But if you listen on Apple, Amazon, that's fine too. Have a great rest of the week. I hope you do things that you love, that you surround yourself with really good people. And why don't you try making something? If you've always been hesitant to do that, I do hope you make this week the week that you put yourself out there, let go, express yourself, and play your part in making the world a better place. Have a great week, everyone. I'll talk to you soon.